Tape from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out over Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
How you doing, Darren?
Doing all right. Nice warm summertime.
That's true.
Summertime and the living's easy.
You're listening to the dulcet tones of Darren Patterson.
Represent the LBC. I forget the other part.
Okay.
Remember that? You're Sublime fan?
Vaguely.
Sublime, you know that?
I remember the beginning of that song.
You're not into the reggae music for bros?
Not too much.
That is Sublime?
Not too much.
That's probably the right answer.
Amber is the power of your energy. That's a lyric there, right?
Isn't that 311?
Okay, that was the closest I could do.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's like, we're white and we like reggae and punk, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, that's pretty much it.
All right, so
90s music. The 90s are alive and well here.
And speaking of the 90s, we're covering yet another 90s movie.
Oh, that's a segue.
That's right. This ain't my first rodeo. Yeah. We are covering yet another 90s SNL movie this week. This week it is Wayne's World 2, the sequel to Wayne's World.
That's right. Came out December 10th, 1993.
Holiday blockbuster.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of... Well, there was two things about like when I found out when it came out, the date-wise. For one thing... It came out a year after the first one.
Yeah.
The first one came out in February
92.
February 92. This came out December 93. That's
quick turnaround.
That's a very quick turnaround.
Yeah.
And like you said, this doesn't... Why did it come out in December? This isn't really a holiday movie.
The first movie was very successful, so I'm sure Paramount thought, we're going to make lots of money. We're going to rake it in. Let's rush this sequel out there. Let's get it in one of the big holiday seasons.
I guess so. I mean...
You want to do it when the kids are out of school, because...
It's true. I mean, it makes more sense for this to come out in the summer, but this is the same year that the Coneheads movie was out in July, so maybe they didn't want two SNL movies to come out at the same time.
So you think that we were suffering from SNL fatigue?
Maybe. I don't know. Like 2 movies in a year from SNL? Oof. But yeah, this came out in December of 93, and around that time, it was competing against Tombstone, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, The Pelican Brief, Philadelphia, and Schindler's List.
Sure.
So yeah, that's...
Do you think there was anybody who was like... should we see Wayne's World 2 or should we see Schindler's List?
I think they were weighing the pros and cons, facts and figures. Like, like I want to see about this movie about the plight of, the Jews. But then again, Schwing. So what do we do here? And this came out in December, directed by Steven Surjik, not by the original director, because as we talked about in the Wayne's World episode, they had there's a bit of a falling out between the original director and Mr. Mike Myers.
Yes, they did not get along. They tangled over the final cut of the original Wayne's World, and I believe Mike Myers used some of his clout.
Yeah.
And he was like, I do not want Penelope Spheris back.
That's right. The Myers muscle came into play, as somebody said.
Yeah.
He muscled her out. So we got Steven Surjik. This, from what I've read, this seemed to be his first movie.
Yeah.
Like, after this, before this, he's done mostly like Canadian television stuff.
He did stuff for Kids in the Hall, which was how Lorne Michaels knew him.
Right.
So Lorne kind of was the agent that made this happen.
Canadian connection.
Yeah.
Right?
So he was like, I like he'd done film segments for Kids in the Hall. I liked the stuff he did that, and I thought he would be a good fit for Wayne's World. I watced the behind the scenes segment on the DVD.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm
filled with a full 15 minutes worth of trivia.
You have a plethora of knowledge.
I did not, however, watch the commentary on Wayne's World 2.
There's commentary? Mine didn't have commentary.
Oh, there was commentary on my library copy. I have no idea what it says, but I was just like, I watched. It was from the director. It was from Steven. How do you pronounce it?
Surjik. Surjik.
Okay.
So, Surjik.
Okay.
I guess. But and also this the budget for this film, it was twice what their original Wayne's World budget was. So they had $40 million instead of the $20 million that made the first Wayne's World 4. But it didn't make as much as they thought it would. It had a budget of $40 million, grossed $48 million. So they broke about even, and it wasn't the big blockbuster they thought it'd be. And after watching this movie, I thought this movie was all right, but it definitely wasn't.
It's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
It
wasn't great.
It looks like this one, according to the graph I'm seeing here on Wikipedia, it was not released overseas. So I don't know why that is. So that, of course, would have really cut into its box office. Well, actually, maybe not, because looking at the... the first one made $61 million overseas. And then for Wayne's World 2, it just says NA, not applicable.
Oh, wow. So I guess they didn't release it overseas.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why wouldn't you?
That seems strange. I don't know what the deal is there.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, let me...
Interesting.
I'm very intrigued there. But the backstory on this movie is kind of interesting. Should I give the summary of the plot first?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So reading from the back of the DVD, it says... It's too excellent to be true. Wayne and Garth are back and front in the most awaited video since Wayne's World. Wayne's World 2. Having achieved godlike status as a late-night TV personality, Wayne, Mike Myers, now confronts the question that has plagued men for centuries. Is there life after cable? Wayne gets his answer in a dream where a very famous and very dead rock star says, put on a concert and they will come. Put on a rock concert and they will come, excuse me. So Wayne and Garth, Dana Carvey, present Wayne stock. But first, Wayne must save his girlfriend, Cassandra, Tia Carrere, from a sinister record producer, Christopher Walken, as Garth grapples with the advances of mega babe Honey Hornay, Kim Basinger. Party on! So
yeah,
that's the sequel. It is Wayne trying to put on a big rock concert, Wayne stock.
Yeah, like I mean, when the movie opens, it's. Well, actually, do you want to talk about the backstory a little bit, or is that's it?
Yeah, we could get into it and get into the backstory later.
Yeah. All right. So basically, the movie starts. Wayne and Garth now live together in a abandoned doll factory.
Yes, in Aurora, Illinois, which is also their studio for their show.
Yes, so they live and they do their show at the same place. Wayne still goes out with Cassandra, and her career is taken off, and she has a record producer now, Christopher Walken.
Right.
Who Christopher Walken plays it pretty straight throughout the whole thing. They don't really use his comedic chops throughout this movie.
Maybe they weren't quite as known. I mean, he definitely hosted SNL by this point, but
he could do comedy, but he didn't have a lot of funny. He didn't have any funny things to say. Now I think about it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he doesn't get as goofy as we know Walken can get. Yeah. That's a good point.
It feels like a missed opportunity to me.
I enjoyed him in this movie, though.
Oh, all right.
I mean, how do you not enjoy the Christopher Walken?
Yeah, it's Christopher Walken.
The other day I was at home, I was flipping around on the channels, and Wedding Crashers was on, and I was like, well, I gotta watch it till this Christopher Walken part.
Yeah.
Nature
versus nurture.
Yeah.
I forget the else he said. But yeah. I mean, he was funny in that, but yeah. But anyway, so Cassandra has a record agent now, and I guess the basic part of this movie is now Wayne kind of feels like he needs to like grow up and do something bigger, or he needs to do something with his life. So he has a dream where he's in the desert. And he sees like a half-naked Indian or Native American, and
they call him a half-naked Indian.
Yeah, they call him half-naked.
I think it's just easiest if we just also call him half-naked Indian. Yeah. But we'll do a preemptive.
There we go. That's what I like to hear.
It's the movie's terminology, not ours.
Yeah, you see the Indian guy's butt a lot.
Yes,
a lot.
Actually,
a lot of butt.
Okay, that's actually my first note. This movie.
You noted his butt?
No. The movie. Before I started the movie, there was a notification on my screen that said Wayne's World 2 is rated PG-13 for ribald humor. For ribald humor. And I was
Ribble for her pleasure.
Is this going to be hosted by John Lovitz? Are we doing a Tales from Ribaldry? Oh my! Oh yes!
How salacious! So anyway, Wayne has this dream, and he sees Jim Morrison in this dream, and he asks Jim Morrison,
played by an actor who doesn't look much like Jim Morrison.
No, not really. I should have written out his name. But
and this is like only a couple years out from the Doors movie.
I think that's what inspired.
I mean, they're kind of inspiring, spoofing the Doors movie, the Oliver Stone Doors movie, because Jim Morrison has visions of an Indian in that, right. And I don't remember what that was all about either, but.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so
This
basically,
guy does not look as much like Jim Morrison as Val Kilmer did.
no, not at all. Like,
No.
yeah, Kilmer looked exactly like
I
Morrison.
mean, this
It's
guy has
creepy.
like a wig, and he has sunglasses on that cover up a fair amount of his face, and it's
Yeah.
still just like,
Yeah, but
well,
like
if
the-
you say that's Jim Morrison,
like,
I guess.
I'll suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he talks to Jim Morrison and says, "What should I do with my life?" And then Jim says, "Oh, I should put on a big concert, and
Right.
if you ask them, they will come." And
Yeah.
and from that, Wayne's like, "All right, I'm going to put on a big concert."
Right.
And yeah, that's pretty much the basis of the film. Just him trying to get this concert off the ground, and you know, asking big groups like Aerosmith and Pearl Jam to be a part of it. And
He never really seems to actually ask any of the groups, though. That's
yeah,
the weird thing.
That's the thing about this movie. There's a lot of like I don't know.
I mean, we have a scene where Wayne and Garth, they go to like the permit office to get all the necessary permits for the concert, and they scout a location, they find a venue, and they do a little Jurassic Park parody.
Yeah,
because this was also the year that Jurassic Park had come out.
Yeah, exactly.
But he never is. And they fly to England and to get this legendary roadie.
Yeah, Del Preston, played
Yeah.
by Ralph Brown, who was in With Nail and I.
Yes, and apparently the party he's playing is very similar to the party played in With Nail and I.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember seeing that movie, but it was like years ago.
Yeah, because it's not a Mike Myers movie unless you're parodying something obscure and British.
Yes, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah,
Like With Nail and I, that Simon character he played in SNL in the
Yes.
cheeky
Yeah.
monkey.
yeah,
But yeah, that's what he loves.
Yep.
But yeah, so it was just them trying to put on this concert, and I mean, I don't know. As far as the movie, I mean, it's not a bad premise for a movie, but it just doesn't. I don't know. The movie, it seemed like the movie kind of leaned very heavily on making references and like, you know, talking about like pop culture stuff and and catchphrases rather than making like actual good jokes throughout it.
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't say this movie made me laugh very much, but there are some cute bits in there.
Right.
I think probably my favorite sequence in the movie was that they have a sequence where Wayne meets Cassandra's father, played by a great character actor James Hong,
Right.
who you've seen in a million things. And they have a kung fu fight.
Yes.
Like, you know, fighting for the honor. And as they're talking in Cantonese, and they're being subtitled, and then they decide they're going to have a fight, and then one of them says, oh, wait, if we're going to fight, we should really be dubbed instead of subtitled.
Right.
And then they switch to being dubbed.
Yeah.
And it's a very over-the-top fight. And
Yeah, I remember that being a big scene, but back when I remember I did see this movie. Did I see it in the theater? I don't know if I saw it in the theater. I definitely saw it, but I remember that being.
I did not. This was my first time watching it.
Oh wow! All right. Well, yeah, I do. I forget if I saw it in the theater. I might have seen it in the theater, but I do remember that one scene being like the big funny scene, the huge, like over the top, kind of 70s kung fu style type of fight where like he's doing like this one of those long kicks where you're like hovering in the air for like a couple minutes.
A lot of backflips.
Yes.
You know, with where they're obviously being doubled.
Yeah.
And you know, Wayne at one point he like poses and his shirt just like comes off.
Yeah.
And, like just rips itself off
like,
his body.
like tearaway jeans.
Yeah, and he like is swinging his samurai sword around a lot, and then the camera pans down and he's like just slashed his jeans to ribbons.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
It's a cute sequence. It still holds up well.
Yeah, that holds up well. And yeah, what else today right here? Oh, and wait, so the movie when the movie opens, they're going to an Aerosmith concert. But see, like again, this is like what I was talking about, where they do like a lot of catchphrases. Like when they saw Aerosmith backstage because they had backstage passes because Cassandra had a hookup, they did that whole "we're not worthy" thing.
Yeah.
Then Alice Cooper. I was like, you guys already did that. Why? Are you, what are we doing again here?
And they had Aerosmith. The cameo, and like they had turned down the cameo in the first movie for some reason, I don't know why.
Right.
And Alice Cooper was the substitute for it, but I guess the Wayne's World was successful enough that Aerosmith said yes, we'll do it this time. And there's footage from a real Aerosmith concert.
Right.
By the way, 3/5 of Aerosmith is shirtless in this movie, which
it's hot up there when you're rocking, baby.
that seems excessive. I feel like no more than 2 members of Aerosmith should be shirtless at any one time.
You think it's like a shirts and skins, like a game?
I don't know. Yeah, I was just like, this is just so much shirtless Aerosmith. It was more than I was comfortable with.
Like Joe, put on a tank top. Steve wants to show his glistening pecs.
Yeah, and you know, hey, Joe Perry, you know, he's an in shape dude.
He's a handsome man.
He's a handsome man, but I mean, and then Steve.
Steve.
Yeah, I mean, he was also there.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler was also there.
Shout out Steve Tyler.
And then third Aerosmith guy. You know, that's over the line.
Yeah, there should be like all right. Steve and Joe, they're the two frontmen. They're the Keith and Mick.
They're the Glimmer twins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can glisten all they want. Like everybody else, put on a shirt.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Know your place.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. Aerosmith.
Yeah, Charlie Watts knows his place, so know your.
Yeah, exactly. You never see Charlie Watts and the Rolling Stones, playing drums shirtless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know he wants to be just like, hey, I've been working out this summer. Let me show my pecs behind these kick pedals or whatever the hell.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a tangent.
But I mean. You know, it was weird. This movie has a lot of celebrity cameos because the first movie was so successful.
Yeah. Heather Locklear showed up real quick.
She shows up. Drew Barrymore shows up.
Bob Odenkirk and Robert Smigel show up.
I love that. They were like these two nerdy fans backstage at the Aerosmith concert, and I was watching this, and I'm like, is that Odenkirk? Is that Bob Odenkirk?
That is Odenkirk.
And he was tough to recognize because he was wearing a wig, and he was also, significantly younger than today.
He's an older fellow these days.
But I was just like, oh, wow, look at that. And they of course, were both writers on SNL. And,
right.
And they were mainly writers back then, I suppose.
Yeah, but, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely. But it was good to see them. Charlton Heston had a quick cameo.
Charlton Heston, that's another funny moment.
Yeah, it's towards the end, Cassandra gets, I guess, whisked away by her record producer, and they get married. That came out of nowhere.
They're going to get married, and then the end of the movie, they do a whole Graduate parody. I mean, it is like they do like a good 10 minutes of The Graduate.
Yeah, like a good chunk of it
at the end. And I don't know. To me, it seemed like they were going beyond parody to just. Oh, we're just doing The Graduate now.
She's like, we ran out of stuff to write. So we're going to sample this like Ditty.
Because they're doing the end of The Graduate like shot for shot.
Yeah, it's a little much.
It was, But anyway, so Wayne, he stops at a gas station to get directions to the church, just like Dustin Hoffman did at the end of The Graduate.
Right.
And his asking for Gordon Street prompts this reminiscence from the guy working at the gas station.
Yeah, the attendant.
And Wayne is like, oh, this actor isn't very good. Can we change him out for a gooder actor?
A gooder actor.
That's what I just said.
An actor who's more good.
Can we get somebody who's more gooder in there? Yeah. And then, of course, we have that actor. He's ushered out by the real director. By the way, that was his little director camp. Yeah, that was Steven Surjik. Wow. And so then he ushers Charlton Heston in. Who Charlton Heston goes off on this nice little tangent of reminiscence, and it brings Wayne to tears.
Absolutely.
And
it was like, wow, I didn't expect to see Charlton Heston in this. Who else is? Rip Taylor.
Rip Taylor,
that's the mighty Rip Taylor.
Yeah, when Wayne is talking about who he's going to book at Wayne Stock, and he's pitching this to Cassandra and to Christopher Walken's character. I'm just going to call him Christopher Walken because he's always Christopher Walken. Yeah. And he's just making this up off the top of his head, and he's like suggesting people based on glancing around the room. So he sees albums from Pearl Jam and Aerosmith.
You see somebody with a Van Halen T-shirt.
Right.
It's like, oh, Van Halen's going to be there.
Right.
And even Garth is like, Van Halen? Really?
And then he glimpses into the studio, and then Rip Taylor's in the studio, and he says, Rip Taylor's going to be there. And
I was like, why did they have Rip Taylor in this movie? I was like,
I enjoyed that just because it was so random.
Yeah, that's true. I enjoyed the randomness of that.
So we have Rip Taylor. We have Chris Farley in there. He's playing another part. He's not playing the security guard he played the first time.
Yeah, he plays Milton in this one, and it's like a quick little thing.
He looks pretty good in his wig, by the way.
Yeah, he looked all right.
I'm looking at this, and I'm like, Chris Farley, he could have done like a Meatloaf biopic.
Why didn't he? Wow, why didn't he do a Meatloaf biopic?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe there wasn't a market for a Meatloaf biopic.
Oh.
I mean, he had the career revival with the I'll Do Anything for Love, but I won't do that yet.
Dude,
that was somewhere in the 90s. That happened somewhere when I was in college, I know.
Yeah. Oh, Chris Farley, man, you missed your calling. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody who... I mean, if they did Meatloaf now, it'd probably be like Josh Gad or something like that they'd give it to.
Oh, God.
I mean, he's the only heavyset dude in Hollywood I know. Kevin Smith?
No.
Kevin James?
Kevin
Smith is skinny. It's Kevin James, that's what I meant to say.
Kevin James, yeah.
Maybe. No, there's not a lot of fat dudes in Hollywood. If you guys can think of who would be,
write in, please.
Write in.
Give us your choices for the Meatloaf biopic.
Yeah, please do. Tweet at us, why don't you? And but yeah, I mean, as far as the movie progresses, it's them like putting on Wayne stock and I don't know. Like I said before, they did like a lot of references to other things. Like there was a reference to Lean on Me because when they're training the roadies, had to be roadies. Yeah. There's at one point where Wayne when Milton, Chris Farley's character, like kind of messes up putting a mic back up, and Mike Myers, Wayne Campbell is like he's like berating him, saying like your words, why don't you get out of here? And then Chris Farley says, because I got no place else to go. And
well, that's Officer and a Gentleman.
Is it? I thought isn't that Lean on Me?
No. No, that's Officer and a Gentleman. That's a famous scene with Richard Gere and Lou Gossett Jr. as the drill sergeant.
It might be both. Interesting. All right, well maybe it is.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen all of Lean on Me. So
it's a classic.
I don't know.
It's a classic film. Morgan Freeman at his best. He screams at people. Swings a bat around. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Okay.
See dudes with Jerry curls. They play Welcome to the Jungle.
All right, stop. You've sold me. You sold me.
I mean, how often?
That's all I need to see a movie is guys in Jerry curls.
Yeah, Jerry curls and knife fights. Come on.
I mean, all I need is like a little soul glow, and I am there.
Dude, your Saturday night is made right there.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, Kevin Pollak's in this movie too. I forgot.
Kevin Pollak too. And Kim Basinger plays Garth's love interest.
Yeah, see that whole storyline. I was not.
It's this weird subplot because it's very isolated from everything else in the movie.
Very much so.
Garth has this romance. He's at the laundromat. Wayne isn't even in the scene where he meets her.
Yeah. Wayne never meets her.
No, I guess not.
No.
And then they could have just made this like Garth's imaginary girlfriend, and it would have amounted to the same thing. Yeah. But he meets this woman in the laundromat who's Kim Basinger, 1993 Kim Basinger, and
the peak Basinger.
Yeah, and her name is Honey Hornet. It's French. She corrects him on the pronunciation because he at first says horny.
Of course.
And then she just seduces Garth, and Garth loses his virginity.
Yes.
And then at the end, she says like, "Oh, I want you to kill my husband for me." So like suddenly we're in a double indemnity thing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the end of that subplot.
Yeah, like there's one point where the woman's like, "Oh, no, I want you to kill I wish my husband were dead, but no, you shouldn't go kill him for me. Oh, could you get my cigarettes out of my purse?" And there's a gun in her purse. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, "Oh, don't. Oh, that gun just happened to be there, but don't go kill him, and please don't." And
right.
She does things to seduce him, and Garth is gonna do it, but then as soon as he leaves her apartment, he's like, "What am I doing?" And then he throws the gun away and then just leaves. And that's the end of that whole.
Yeah.
It's like,
and the gun is now a full 2 feet away from her house.
Yeah.
He just like puts it in the planter right outside the front door.
Yeah, so. Really. It's like the writers just kind of were like, I don't want. We shouldn't do this.
They were like, well, let's drop this subplot. This isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, it's like, why would you even start writing it if you have no ending for it?
And it's just weird because it didn't relate to the Wayne stock plot of the movie at all.
At all. So why even have this in here?
But supposedly, like I think Dana Carvey wanted more to do in the movie, so they just gave him that subplot. But they really should have integrated it better into the movie.
It just seemed like such a waste. Like there's this isn't needed at all.
And then at the end we have Garth hooks up with this other girl who
looks just like him.
She's like a female doppelganger for Garth. And the whole movie, I was like, okay, that actress looks really familiar. I don't know who that is, but she looks really... And it was throwing me because she's wearing like the Garth glasses and she's got a wig that looks like Garth's hair. And then I looked it up on IMDb afterwards, and it's Olivia d'Abo.
Yeah!
Who is this... Probably best known as the sister from the Wonder Years.
Absolutely.
And yeah, she's had a long career. I know she's done a lot of voiceover work and stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, Olivia d'Abo's in this. That's kind of neat. Yeah. And she did a nice job. She's doing like the Garth voice, too.
Exactly. I thought it would have made more sense to have her in the movie more and like seeing Garth being comfortable around her, and that would have made a little bit. Yeah. I don't know.
At least he ended up with the right girl at the end.
That's true. A girl that looks just like him.
That's right. Which is, that's the dream.
We're all just dating ourselves, right?
Right.
Just somebody that looks like me, that likes what I like.
Yes.
Doesn't challenge me at all.
That's right.
That's the dream.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. Oh man, speaking of dating, it took me a while to realize it, but in this movie, Wayne's not a really good boyfriend.
He's kind of a douche in this movie. About halfway through, because we kind of replay the same subplot from the first movie where he's concerned that he's going to lose Cassandra to Rob Lowe. Yeah. And in this movie, it's Christopher Walken playing pretty much Rob Lowe's character from the first movie, because I'm sure those two go up for the same roles all the time.
Of course. We couldn't get Rob Lowe, get Christopher Walken.
But yeah, and he's this charming, important guy, and he
can play guitar.
He can play guitar. He can dance, and there's a point about halfway through the movie I was like, okay, I'm now actively rooting for Cassandra to just dump Wayne and go with Christopher Walken.
He's an upgrade.
Because Christopher Walken can swing dance.
Yeah.
Can Wayne swing dance? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, even at one point where Wayne straight up asked, "Are you sleeping with him?" I was like, but there's no signs of of Christopher Walken trying to get with Cassandra. Or he's just
he's just being his charming Christopher Walken self.
Yeah, but Wayne just gets super jealous immediately. Are you sleeping with him? And then he spies on her, and it's like, wow, Wayne's.
We should talk about the sequence where he spies on her.
Oh yeah, all right, let's talk about
that. So Wayne he goes undercover. He's spying on a meeting between Cassandra and Christopher Walken. And he's dressed up as a construction worker.
Right.
And he gets his friends to help him. And Garth is dressed up as a traffic cop.
Right.
And then his two friends, Neil, and I forget the name of the other one.
Neil and the other guy.
Yeah, Neil and the other guy. They're dressed up as, respectively, a sailor and
a biker.
A biker. He's working on his motorcycle.
Right.
And then of course, they're detected.
Right.
And then there's a chase ensues. Christopher Walken chases them. And he chases them into this gay dance club.
The Toolbox.
And they all end up, and they're trying to get out of there, and they end up on stage, and they're all lined up. They're the biker, the cop, the construction worker.
Right.
The sailor, then the naked Indian shows up. You see where this is going, and then they see it, and then they put up YMCA, and they do a little YMCA
Fun
number.
It's
it was cute. Where they're going way before they get there.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's just so obvious just from the costumes.
It's they're going to run into a gay bar. Oh, it's the Village People. Yeah. And of course YMCA plays. It's.
I was kind of impressed that. For 1993, they didn't make a joke out of the gay bar.
Yeah,
it was just they ran into, and that was a place. There weren't like oh, they're gay, isn't that funny? It was just that was the place they went into, and I was like, oh, that's pretty progressive for 1993. You know Wayne's World too.
Yeah, from what I remember, back, you ever watched the old Police Academy movies, and they did that thing with the Blue Oyster,
the Blue Oyster, yeah, and that and they're the joke is, oh, they're gay, isn't it funny?
Yeah,
and here they didn't do that.
Yeah,
so that was nice. We made some progress in those 10 years.
We're getting there.
Give
us another 30 or 40 years or so. We'll be there. Slow progress.
30, 40 years from now, or 30, 40 years from Wayne's World 2?
I don't know, man. Just from now, I don't know.
Yeah,
okay. We'll get there someday.
Someday,
if the world is still around.
Mm-hmm.
If global warming hasn't killed us all. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this mic on? Other cameos. Tim Meadows with Sammy Davis Jr.
He does a good Sammy Davis Jr. He shows up in another one of the dream sequences with Jim Morrison and the Indian.
Right. And Harry Shearer and the mighty Ted McGinley.
Yes, yeah, Ted McGinley, which I guess that gives us our answers to why they didn't make any more Wayne's World movies after this. Because Ted McGinley, show killer, shows up in the middle, and it's like, oh, well, there we go. That explains it.
I'd like to defend Ted McGinley, but his record is pretty damning. Happy Days.
Happy Days, Love Boat.
Married with Children.
Well, Married with Children, he was on that show for years. He was on that show longer than the first husband for Marcy. So
yeah, he was.
It's not really fair.
It's
just...
all right, yeah, it's just... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
But it's a fun joke to keep going.
Yeah, it's true.
Ted McGinley tells shows.
Ted McGinley, yes. You're always welcome on this podcast. Maybe not.
I enjoy the work of Ted McGinley.
He's fine, yeah.
He's good.
Revenge of the Nerds?
Yeah,
he did that.
He's in Sports Night. He's great in Sports Night.
All right, Sports Night.
He was incredible in Sports Night.
Dude, Sports Night is so underrated.
So underrated.
I remember when that came out, late 90s. I was in college, and I thought it was a great show.
Great show.
But I remember not a lot of people watched it. It was just it was one of those
Aaron
shows.
Sorkin.
Yeah, it was the early Sorkin, and it was one of those shows that got a lot of good critic reviews and good.
Yep.
But people
you got the Josh Charles, you got the Peter Krause, you got the Felicity Huffman.
Got the Huff.
You got the Robert Guillaume. Really, if you take one thing away from this episode of the SNL Nerds, it's go watch Sports Night.
Go watch Sports Night.
If you have not watched Sports Night, get off your ass.
Yeah. What do you even... listen to this podcast first, but then
finish this up.
But then after that, watch Sports Night. Watch Sports Night.
It is just like 2 seasons. It is wonderful. It is a delight. You will enjoy yourself.
There is some solid writing in Sports Night, so go watch Sports Night. Yes. Maybe we should get back to Wayne's World.
Yeah. But we had Ted McGinley and Harry Shearer at the radio station because, like, in the opening scene or the second scene or something, they're listening to a DJ who's Handsome Dan.
Yes, Handsome Dan and Mr. Scream.
Yeah, and then when they get to the radio station, they see Ted McGinley and they're like, "Oh, obviously you're Handsome Dan," but it turns out to be Harry Shearer, who's made up to look ugly, but he's not really over the top ugly enough to really make the gag land.
Yeah, he's like just ugly enough to not be Handsome Dan.
Yeah, he's more like plain.
Yeah, he's not hideous.
No, he doesn't.
He's not ghastly or nothing.
And honestly, the setup didn't work for me because I recognized Harry Shearer's DJ voice right off because he's done that in a million things.
Yeah, he's got a smooth voice.
I think he did work as a DJ for a while, maybe.
Oh,
but yeah, he was doing his pro DJ voice and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, WPIX.
Yeah,
the Blizzard.
So I mean, I knew it was Harry Shearer right from when I heard that voice because I've heard it on like a million Simpsons episodes and
absolutely,
things like that. So
yeah. All right, well, so let's go back. We should go back to So they also bring in this because Jim Morrison says, in order to put this concert on properly, you need to get Del Preston played by Ralph Brown. So this bit I did like when they
this was a cute bit.
Yeah, because like they had to fly to London to get
England.
England.
That's the only address they have for him, and they find him instantly.
Yeah, there's a lot, but so in order to get to London, they fly to London, and while they show the shot of the plane going to London, you hear a voiceover from Wayne and Garth saying, "Oh, isn't it great that the film company gave us enough money to go to London?"
And it's literally a model plane just sliding. You see the poles holding it up.
Yes,
and it's just flying across fake sky.
Yeah. And then they show Wayne and Garth in London, but you don't see their face. You see you see their backs.
Yeah, there's a voiceover thing about how most studios would just send doubles or do pickup footage and that, but they actually sent us to England, and then we see 2 people from behind that don't really match Wayne and Garth.
And then you notice that Garth is significantly shorter than Wayne.
Right.
Like the person they had to play Garth is a foot shorter than Wayne.
Yeah.
And so it's just obvious. Oh, they just sent body doubles. I thought that was a cute thing.
It was cute. It was cute. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny. Yeah, and that was cool. And Del Preston playing. Ralph Brown playing Del Preston. I was like, okay. At first, I didn't know who he was for a minute. I thought it was like maybe some famous British actor or comedic actor I didn't know about. And then I looked up his stuff, and I was like, "Oh, he was in With Nail and I and a bunch of other stuff."
Have you ever seen With Nail and I?
Yeah. I mean, I think I said earlier, like years ago I saw it, just because I know it has like a huge cult following.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, if it has a cult following, let me check it out. And I thought it was all right.
Okay.
It's like, it's a bunch of actors, out-of-work actors, getting drunk and, causing a revelry all about time. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, it was all right. Oh, and there was another scene where...
What? Another scene?
There's another scene.
Holy cow.
This movie's full of scenes.
Wow.
Where Wayne and Garth are walking into a building and they see a bunch of people sort of stacking up watermelons. And crates full of chickens.
Yeah, and this is very early in the movie.
Yeah, very early in the movie. And they say, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" It's like, "Oh, we're just stacking up these crates full of chickens. Make sure they're right here."
Yeah.
And one of the guys, the comedian Bobby Slayton, is like, "Yeah, and it's just my job to put up all these watermelons here. Just make sure they're stocked in the middle of the street."
And there are 2 other guys that are like, it's our job to carry this giant pane of glass back and forth across the street. We're just constantly doing that.
Yeah, and of course Wayne looks at the camera and it's like, "Oh, it's interesting that they're doing this. It's like this will be a payoff maybe later in the movie, I wonder." Yeah. And of course later in the movie it's Wayne driving through the pane of glass and the chickens and the watermelons. Right. I was like,
that was cute. I mean, they put so much distance between those 2 that you genuinely forgot about that setup early on.
Exactly.
So it was cute.
Clever. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, for the most part, I didn't write too much about this movie because it doesn't. I don't know. It didn't seem to really resonate that much with me. Like, I mean, it's like I said earlier. I feel like they did a lot of like references to other TV shows and movies and just catchphrases. Like there was that one scene where Wayne was talking to Cassandra and like he referenced like 2 commercials from the 80s. Like there was one part where he says, you know, where I think he asked Cassandra if he's like, you know, sleeping around on her, and then she said, "No, why would you think that?" And he says, like, you know how these things happen. Like they tell one person tells another person something.
And they're doing a split screen.
Yeah, and then there's like a split screen and a split screen and a split screen. It's like, and they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends. Like I didn't know what that was, and I had to look it up. And apparently, that's a reference to a Fabergé organic shampoo commercial from the 80s.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, which Heather Locklear was in.
Well,
so that's like, I mean. I don't know. It just seems like the joke is you have to know the reference, and
I mean, I think both of these movies they're very much of their time, and they work best in their time.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to grow up with around that time, around that pop culture. To really fully get those references. I mean, because a lot of those things, like in the first movie, the Nooper and Little Yellow Different, that had kind of fallen down the memory hole.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember that commercial.
Yeah. Like I remember the commercial because I grew up around that time. But yeah, like you said, like it kind of, you know, where the joke wears away through time. Yeah. And there was another reference to another commercial he did when he asked Cassandra to do his laundry, and Cassandra gave her back his laundry, and Wayne was like, "Oh, how do you get my clothes so nice and clean?" And it's like, "Oh, it's an old ancient Cantonese secret." And then he goes, "Hey, wait a minute," and he pulled out a box of Calgon.
Right, ancient Chinese secret, huh?
See, and that's something you wouldn't know unless you saw the commercial.
Yeah, that was a very famous commercial that ran for like years.
Right.
I mean, I think that commercial's from the 70s, and it ran until well into the 80s. I believe. I mean, I saw that joke coming a mile away, but.
But that's like. I mean, you can see us. We're trying to fish for something to say about this movie.
I mean, it seemed like obviously we have a lot of cameos in there because the first movie was so successful. So a lot of people want to get in on the sequel,
right?
But it seemed like with a lot of these people, they didn't really do anything with them. Like Aerosmith doesn't do much. Like Alice Cooper in the first movie, he did a comedy bit where he knows all this stuff about local Milwaukee history, and all that, and it was very funny. And then Aerosmith is just kind of there.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, did they not have time to write something?
And like we see Drew Barrymore. She's the receptionist at the record company, and she's Swedish. And then Wayne knows a great deal about Sweden because he had to stay up all night to write a history report. And she says like, I'm very impressed that you know so much about my home country. Her Swedish accent is horrible, by the way.
Very bad.
And she's like, I look forward to making love with you sometime in the near future. And that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else with Drew Barrymore. It's a totally inconsequential scene. Heather Locklear shows up at the beginning. She doesn't do much of anything.
Heather Locklear doesn't do anything.
She's just there.
She's just there. And Christopher Walken, I mean, he's a good straight man, but he doesn't... It's like, it just seems like...
Christopher Walken, we at least get to see him dance. I mean,
that's true.
You know, he used some of the same moves that he ended up using in the Weapon of Choice music video. Do you remember that?
Oh, my God.
Flying Christopher Walken?
Yeah, that video changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taught me how to dance.
I mean... Christopher Walken, he's got some moves. You get Christopher Walken doing a little soft shoe. I mean,
he's got moves.
That's all you need.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like that. It seems like a lot of kind of wasted potential in that.
Yeah,
but I mean, maybe do you think it's because this movie was rushed so quickly?
I think so, and it was like really rushed. Let's talk a little about the backstory of this.
Yeah,
movie,
let's go into the back
because that's kind of interesting. So the first movie is very successful. And, you know, so they fast track a sequel, obviously.
Right.
And Mike Myers writes a script for Wayne's World 2. And the original concept had Wayne and Garth, they find the scroll and they form their own country.
Huh?
They're seceding from the U.S. You didn't
I did not know. I didn't know about any of this.
All right. Well, so they find this ancient scroll and they end up forming their own country and seceding from the U.S., and this was a story. It was taken from the 1949 British comedy Passport to Plimlico. I hope I'm saying that right. And this version of the film was in pre-production.
Where they create their own country.
Where they're creating their own country. They're seceding from the U.S. So it was basically like based on this obscure British comedy.
All right.
Or forgotten British comedy, whichever.
Once again, Mike Myers and his obscure British...
Yeah, exactly. And this was in pre-production. And then the studio apparently was unaware that Mike Myers had based this screenplay on this previous comedy, so they didn't get the rights to it.
Oh.
So and
oh, you can't do that?
When they found out, they were literally in pre-production of the movie, and to get the rights would have taken months and thrown off their whole schedule, their whole timetable.
Right.
And Mike Myers just thought the studio knew, apparently. And
you didn't get the memo?
And Sherry Lansing, who is the head of the studio, she was furious with Mike Myers. They immediately halted production. Director Surgic said, "I could hear chainsaws literally chopping the sets down."
Oh my God.
and Sherry Lansing was infuriated. She had this meeting with Mike Myers in her office. She said, "How dare you? How dare you put us in this position?" She said, "We'll sue you. We'll take your fucking house. You won't even own a fucking house." She told him,
shit.
"We have a team of lawyers figuring out how to take everything for you." Mike Myers is like curled up in the fetal position in her office.
Oh, like literally?
Yeah, apparently.
Whoa.
And she says, "If I were you, Mike, I'd go to Lorne Michaels' office right now and stay there until you come up with a new script. We'll slide food under the door."
God
so
damn.
Mike Myers writes this other script that has nothing to do with Passage to Winco.
So that explains a lot.
So
this was written under duress.
It was written under duress, and it could have just been that Mike Myers was just like, "Oh, so you want me to just hack something out, reuse a lot of the jokes in the first movie, and do that? Okay, fine, I'll give you what you want."
Oh, so
it could have just been that Mike Myers just threw up his hands and was like, because I mean, if you write this whole other script and you're excited about this and it's in freaking pre-production,
yeah.
So yeah,
so that makes a lot. So this isn't supposed to be bullshit. Okay,
yeah,
all right,
yeah, pretty much,
huh?
So, but that's fascinating, right?
That is fascinating.
That's I gotta check out this other movie because I mean the premise of the other premise sounds much more interesting.
It definitely does. I kind of want to see this movie though.
Yeah.
But hey, wow.
So
wow.
Yeah.
All right, well, that makes
sense. So what do you got? You had more on the backstory of the movie, you were saying?
I mean, not really. I mean, that was way more than I thought you'd have.
I win!
Wow.
Woo!
Yeah, wow. I mean, so it's like we said, like, it had to double the budget as the first one. It didn't make as much.
Yeah.
And it kind of fizzled out.
Another interesting bit of trivia I found about this was that they tried to get Nirvana.
Yes.
To be one of the guests at Waynestock,
but like the schedules didn't
apparently they even screened like a rough cut of the movie for Nirvana, and Nirvana was like, "No, we're good."
Oh, wait, did they say no? Or
I think they said no.
They couldn't make it happen.
Oh, that's interesting. There are two stories out there about this. I was hearing they said no. You're hearing that the scheduling didn't work out.
That's, okay. All right, but yeah,
Dave Grohl, call in.
Yeah, Dave Grohl, you got my number.
Let us know. Help us get to the bottom of this.
You got my number.
People have to know.
Yeah, you got my number. Text me.
Yeah.
He doesn't have my number.
He has your email.
Yes, of course. Of course, yeah. Hotmail.com.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as far as movies go, I mean,
it is a movie.
It is a movie.
It is a series of frames that are projected in sequence for approximately 90 minutes.
It's 90 minutes long. There are words and images.
There are actors. It was directed.
Yeah,
there was, one other gag I did like in the Graduate parody that they're doing at the end. And by the way, they go to the exact same church that was used in The Graduate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was the same setup, and Wayne runs into the church. And he braces himself up against the window, just like Dustin Hoffman in like sort of the crucifix pose. And he's like, "Oh no!" And he starts banging on the window, and he goes, "Cassandra, Cassandra!" And then the bride and groom turn around, and of course it's a different bride and groom.
Oh, okay.
And then Wayne is like so embarrassed, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, wrong wedding, carry on." And then he walks out, and then he sees directly across the street there's the exact same church, like a mirror image of it. On the
right, that was the second Unitarian church. And he was supposed to go to the first one.
Right. The first Presbyterian church, and that was very cute. And I will say, they went the extra mile to do the whole Graduate sequence. They went to the same church. Apparently, they tracked down the same bus or the same style of bus that was used in The Graduate.
Nice. Okay.
And they had Tia Carrere in the same style of wedding gown.
Oh yeah,
so
that's right.
So they really they play Simon and Garfunkel while he's driving there.
Yes, they do.
You know, his car breaks down just like in The Graduate. I mean,
yeah, I remember all
really,
that.
if you've seen the end of The Graduate, you've seen the end of Wayne's World 2.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, and that's another thing that kind of threw me off. That kind of came out of nowhere, like where Tia Carrere was on Jay Leno, and like Wayne had no idea. I guess at that point they kind of broken up.
Yeah,
because he said he wanted to. Because there's one point in the movie where Wayne breaks up with her.
Yeah. But she doesn't really accept it.
Yeah, because again, he's a terrible boyfriend. He gets very jealous, and
she should have just gone with Walken.
Yeah, he's a step up.
He's a charming guy.
Yeah. So then I think Wayne's still calling her, and then he finds out that Tia Carrere and Christopher Walken are going to get married, which comes out of nowhere.
Comes totally out of nowhere because we don't see him ever even make a pass at her before this.
That part bothered me too. It's like, there's no signs that he's trying to make a move on her, and then just out of nowhere, it's they're gonna get married. It's like, what? That makes no sense.
It got you speaking in tongues.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
That's like Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Why are they getting married? What's going on? I don't understand.
Exactly. Adam Sandler's fun to do.
Yeah.
So that part kind of like threw me off too, and I don't know. This movie was okay. And
I mean, it's got its moments here and there. Like one bit I really liked was after Garth loses his virginity the next morning. He's in a bathrobe, and I think he has an ascot, and he's got a little pipe, and he's doing Cary Grant. He's like, "Hello, darling," and he sounds like Cary Grant, or more accurately, he sounds like Tony Curtis doing Cary Grant in Some Like It Hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like dead on, and he's like, "Hello, darling."
I hope I wasn't too much of an animal last night.
Body on, excellent, and that was very funny. I could have done with a little more of Garth doing Cary Grant.
Yeah, of course. That's all any of us want.
And I liked we later see like domesticated Garth, where his hair's like much more styled, and his shirt is all buttoned up, and that was cute.
Was cute. I mean, the movie.
I just wish it related to the main thrust of the movie, the main plot of the movie.
It was that part really bothered. It wasn't like the way they didn't. It was like a whole separate thing.
Yeah.
It didn't even need to be there.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as the movie goes, I'm just looking up trivia for it.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It passes the time agreeably. I certainly liked it better than Coneheads.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's not as good as the first Wayne's World. But if you enjoy Wayne's World, you'll probably find something in Wayne's World 2 to enjoy too.
Yeah, it's very like I'm just looking up trivia for it. Well, I mean, we talked about how there was a Wayne's World roller coaster back in the day, and in Charlotte, North Carolina, Paramount Carowinds theme park had a whole Wayne's World themed area in the park. It included the Mirthmobile that had hit a fire hydrant and water sprayed from the hydrant. A wooden roller coaster called the Hurler, Stan Mikita's donut shop where you could actually go inside and eat. The Rock Shop, a store selling metal rock type merchandise, as well as Wayne's World merchandise, and a ride called the Scream Weaver. So that was a fun little time in life.
Scream Weaver, I believe we can make it through the night.
Ooh, that was rough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't have much to say about this one. It's kind of Oh, Paramount launched a $100 million joint advertising campaign with McDonald's for Wayne's World 2 and Addams Family Values, in which both films were cross-promoted through the home video sales of their predecessors, Wayne's World and The Addams Family.
Huh.
So there you go.
This is interesting. Mike Myers wanted Federico Fellini to direct.
Yeah.
Paramount, thinking Myers was joking, quickly squashed that idea. So, they were like, "Oh, who do you like as a director?" And he was like, "I've always loved Federico Fellini," and I'm sure Mike Myers was half serious on that.
That seems like But I mean, that's the movie. It's just like
Yeah,
it's all right. But So and that's all we got to say about that.
That's all I've got to say about that.
That's all All right, so so I mean, is there anything to plug or promote or?
We got an interesting letter.
Right. Oh, right.
Yes. We got to talk a little about this.
We got some feedback.
We got some feedback in response to the Coneheads episode, and I had this up on my phone, and of course it just went away.
Yeah, apparently, I did not expect people. I didn't expect to hear much about the Coneheads episode because you don't hear too many people being very passionate about that movie.
But we got a very thoughtful a note back on our Facebook page.
Yes.
We're on Facebook at SNL Nerds, by the way. So we don't mention that much, but you can find us on there. We post things on there. If we find a cool news story about SNL, we post it on there. But we got a note from our fan Joanna
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Yeah,
thank you.
One of my good college friends. Hey, Joanna.
Oh, okay. All right. And she says, Dear Darren and John, while I absolutely adore your podcast, I feel that I must write a rebuttal for episode 37, Coneheads. While you both had valid points of the movie through your 2009 eyes, but let me tell you what it meant to a young woman from Queens in 1993.
Ooh, picture it.
Yeah. Though I didn't see it on the big screen, it was on heavy rotation on HBO, and I couldn't escape the posters at Subway. I'd always liked the Coneheads around Halloween, and they would show the animated special along with Witches Night Out featuring Gilda Radner. Check it out. I don't think I've heard of that.
I haven't.
But I digress. I would often find myself channel surfing after a long Saturday working at Green Acres Mall.
Oh, Green Acres Mall.
Dagels?
Gesundheit.
Okay, I don't. Probably mispronouncing that.
Look, you can show me later.
And come across Coneheads. While, yes, the start is slow and there's totally foreshadowing of a battle like the Star Trek episode I related. Dare I say, I am Connie Conehead. I, too, am an only child and was a young woman whose parents are different with different traditions and culture. And like most teenage girls, would not maintain low tones with my parental units and wanted to just fit in. Sidebar, I would call my parents that until my mom's passing in 2001. It is a story about immigration and wanting the American dream. And yes, Chris Farley was too old to play her boyfriend, but did you see how Beldar picked up his car? That's not out of the realm of my dad's behavior.
Wow.
My mom, who was also a stay-at-home mom, and I often had those talks with the way Primat and Connie about boys and respect. I, too, shed tears, even though they weren't green, after a blind date. And it was fun seeing all the SNL cameos in the film. It's a story about living the earthly American dream. As a daughter of immigrant parents, it was nice to see someone on film that could make light of the situation of having parents from France and wanting to be her own person. At its core, the film is about family. Coneheads reminds me of simpler, happier times in my life. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy the film, John. Clearly, you have no idea what it's like to be a teenage girl.
Clearly you don't, John.
Sincerely, Joanna. So thank you very much for that thoughtful message.
That was a passionate...
Yeah, she gave us permission to read that on the air. I thought that was just too good not to share with people. And I love that the movie spoke to you that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did touch on the fact that the theme of immigration was...
And assimilation.
Assimilation throughout the movie. And but yeah, I guess I didn't picture or I didn't consider the theme of family was like a strong part of that too. It's like
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, and I'm glad it spoke to you. It didn't do a whole lot for me personally.
Yeah, but I mean, some movies are like that. Some people like Bob Dylan. Some people are like whatever. He sounds weird.
Yeah.
Other people like I don't know. Blink-182.
So Coneheads is the Bob Dylan of the SNL movies. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay. You can quote me on that.
All right.
Yeah,
I remember when it went electric like halfway through the movie.
Oh, people revolted. They hated that. Like, what is this?
That's the bit where they go back to their home planet.
Yes, and, exactly. Yeah. Like, Primat is supposed to be acoustic. This just won't stand. This won't do. And I also put out the word to our Twitter folks that we're recording. See if anybody had any questions about this episode. And,
okay. About this episode we're doing now?
Yeah,
or the episode?
No, not about this episode. And we've... I said, we're recording Wayne's World 2, and we had at Arlington Hokey, Todd, says, just be sure to dot your lowercase Jays.
That's a reference to a thing that they say in a film.
That's right, because Kevin Pollak has that one weird eye. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say weird, but it was one eye was different.
It had no pigment in his eye.
Ocular
albinoism.
Yes.
Something like that.
Which might
I have no idea if that's a real thing.
If it is a thing, I apologize for saying weird. I don't want to get canceled from the ocular albino community.
Oh God! Yeah.
Oh God! We're gonna get letters.
Making enemies.
Oh God!
That was Darren who said that.
Don't
Darren.
Yes, you can tweet at me at Frank Kablawi. No, don't do that. 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 He's a good man.
Yeah.
And thorough.
Yeah.
All right. So is there anything to? I throw people under the bus immediately.
You do. Well, I just threw you under the bus. So
I threw Frank under the bus.
That's right.
That's what we do here.
And thus the cosmic balance is maintained.
Circle of life.
But, I think that's going to be about it this week. We, as always, will encourage people to visit Non-Productive.com and contribute to our Patreon.
Yeah, we got a Patreon page. Give us some money, please.
Yeah, I mean, that just helps us keep the show going and bring you all this content from us and from all the other shows on the Non-Productive Network. And please, check that out. We just started a new show about the honeymooners.
Yes, the Honeymooners Podcast, a podcast totally about the honeymooners. Mm-hmm. So check that out. And, of course, we have other shows, Near Mint, comic book
show. Yeah,
and just check it out. See what you like.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. Yeah. So give them a listen too.
Yeah.
And you can also follow us on the social media. We're on Twitter at SNL Nerd Show.
Yeah.
And we are both also individually on Twitter.
Yes, I'm at Darren Credible, Instagram and Twitter at DARIN Credible.
And I am at Trumbull Comic on Twitter.
Yeah. So, that's it. And next episode we got coming out. This is I'm kind of dreading the next one. Next
week. Okay, we're going into the.
This is going to be the slog.
Next week is one of the more infamous SNL movies.
Yeah.
This one flopped hard, and it's a character that we're thinking probably doesn't hold up anymore.
Yeah.
This is one that we haven't seen.
I have not seen this.
I have not seen this either. I think most people have not seen this.
Yeah.
We are going to cover It's Pat. The movie about Julia Sweeney's strange androgynous character. Not that androgynous people are strange,
right.
But
there you go.
But that was the basic thrust of the character. Is we don't know if Pat is a man or a woman, and isn't it funny when you can't tell somebody's sex immediately?
We're gonna be walking on eggshells in this one. This is gonna be gonna thread the needle in this one.
So we're gonna see how this movie holds up 25 years later.
Yeah,
if it holds up. If it probably didn't work then.
I'm afraid. I'm scared, man. I'm scared.
I'm scared.
I'm so scared.
So tune into that one. I mean, no matter how it goes, that's going to be interesting to listen to.
We're going to be sweating it out. like Shaq at the foul line.
That's right. That's right.
It's a sweaty mess.
So check that out.
Yeah. Until then.
Well, maybe, will that be the movie that breaks us? I don't know.
It might be. Will we break down and curled up in the fetal position?
Like Mike Myers and Sherry Lansing's office?
Yeah.
It could happen.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come track our mental health through the rest of the summer.
Absolutely.
So
on that note, party on, John.
Party on, Darren.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Kablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.